BBC News, hello, I'm Gareth Barlow. President Biden has told American citizens remaining in Ukraine to leave, adding that he would not send troops to evacuate them should Russia invade. It follows a new advisory from the US State Department warning that America's consulate service in Ukraine would be severely impacted should the country come under attack. Here's our North America correspondent, Peter Bowes.
In an interview with NBC News, Mr. Biden said American citizens should leave Ukraine now. We're dealing with one of the largest armies in the world, he said, referring to Russia's build-up of troops along the border with Ukraine. He added things could go crazy very quickly. Mr. Biden said there was no scenario whereby American troops would be sent in to help evacuate US citizens. If Americans and the Russians started shooting at one another, he said, it would be a world war.
Earlier, the leaders of Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania called on their NATO allies to beef up military support in Eastern Europe. They've been holding talks in Berlin about the Ukrainian crisis with the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. The chief of the London Metropolitan Police has resigned. Dame Cressida Dick is leaving the post 2 years earlier than expected, after the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, expressed reservations about her ability to reform the police force. A recent report into police misconduct had found evidence of what it described as disgraceful misogyny and discrimination. Tom Simons is following developments.
Last week she met the Mayor of London and there was a lot of discussion about the Met's plan to deal with its cultural problems. That plan involves months of review by Dame Louise Casey. But if you think about it, over those months there would be more and more revelations, more and more pressure building on the Met, and really Dame Cressida Dick's position became very, very difficult to sustain because the Mayor wanted results much more quickly than that. He was talking about days, the next time we meet, weeks at most.
Portuguese police say they have foiled a terror attack that was being planned by an 18-year-old student to target Lisbon University on Friday. More details from Alison Roberts in the Portuguese capital.
Portugal's main criminal investigation force, the Judicial Police, said its National Counter-Terrorism Unit had, in a house search on Thursday, interrupted ongoing criminal activity in the form of a plot to attack students at the University of Lisbon. It said that a large amount of evidence was seized, including several prohibited weapons and other items likely to be used to commit violent crimes, as well as a written attack plan.
The Moroccan authorities have decided to survey all abandoned wells after a trapped young boy died despite a valiant but unsuccessful rescue attempt last week. Ryan's plight at the bottom of a narrow 32-metre deep borehole gripped millions in Morocco and beyond. World news from the BBC. A presidential directive has reissued publishing licenses to 4 banned Tanzanian newspapers. The announcement, made at a media forum by the information minister, was greeted with cheering. Napi said the new licenses for the Swahili language papers reflected the government's wish to establish a new chapter with journalists. Spanish police say they've busted a maritime drug-running operation that allegedly faked sailboat accidents, including one with a killer whale, to smuggle hashish from Morocco. They say drugs were loaded onto yachts, which simulated difficulties that required boats to be towed into a Spanish port, where the drugs would be unloaded clandestinely. The British singer Sting has become the latest musician to sell his entire songwriting back catalogue. The deal, thought to be worth up to $300 million, sees Universal Music take control for the publishing of both Sting's solo career and his time with the band The Police. Colin Patterson reports.
As we walk in fields of gold.
Fields of gold indeed. A figure upwards of £220 million is what Sting is believed to have been paid by Universal for the publishing rights to every song he's ever written, both as a solo artist and as a member of the Police. Sting, who turned 70 last year, follows the likes of Bruce Springsteen, Bob Dylan and Debbie Harry, who have all recently sold their song catalogues to companies who believe there is long-term money to be made due to the increased importance of streaming.
And a British holidaymaker who lost his false teeth while vomiting into a bin on a boozy night out in a Spanish resort has been reunited with them 11 years on. Paul Bishop told the BBC they'd been posted back to him by the Spanish authorities after being found in a landfill site. He said they'd identified him via DNA and then used that to track down his address. BBC News.